We've got the refreshed Kia Sorento.
Way more than a facelift.
There goes Zach. Turbo.
Yeah, we're in the turbo.
Ooh,
I would guess, though, that most people are going to want to have the hybrid or the plug-in. We'll get into all the powertrains. What's under the hood of this one?
A 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with an 8-speed wet dual-clutch transmission, 281 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. Standard all-wheel drive in Canada. In the U.S., front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive options are available. You can put regular fuel in the Sorento.
Now, the base model is also a 2.5 liter, but not turbocharged, with an 8-speed regular automatic transmission, 191 horsepower, 181 pound-feet of torque. In Canada, all-wheel drive, but in the U.S., it's front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive options.
Now, this gas model is a 2024 model and it got the refresh. The hybrid and plug-in hybrid models will be coming as 2025 models with these updates at the end of the year.
You gotta wait. All right, what do you get with this? What are the key standard features?
The base trim comes with a 4-inch LCD driver display, a 12.3-inch touchscreen, wireless Apple Carplay and Android Auto, Kia Connect, over-the-air updates, a 6-speaker audio system, cloth upholstery, heated front seats, a power driver's seat with 2-way lumbar support, manual passenger seat, and 7-passenger seating. In the U.S., a power driver's seat and heated front seats are not standard.
You've got drive modes. You've also got terrain settings. What are we going to put it in?
Got to put it in S for subscribe. And if you can hit that notification bell, you'll be notified when all of our reviews drop, and then you can watch them.
And we do this, the couple car review twice a week. The first one drops on Wednesday.
We put another one out on Saturday.
So make sure to like and subscribe, but also follow along on Instagram. It's Motormouth_Andrea to see what's up behind the scenes, and to get a question in for me, it's Motormouth_Auto, and the links are below the like button. Now, as we've come to expect from Korean brands, when they do a mid-cycle facelift, they don't just do a facelift. They gave us way more stuff. A lot of it is centered on the interior. What do we get for 2024?
Well, I gotta say, the exterior got some really nice tweaks. It's got a boxier design. It really has a Telluride vibe right now. It has a larger grille, updated headlamps and tail lamps, plus new trims, including an X Pro model, which is supposed to be more of an adventure-ready vehicle.
All right, so the big change for me is the inside. You get this dual panel. It's actually one screen, but two different elements underneath it that we've seen in a lot of Kia products. It's amazing how they just rip out an interior and they put a whole new one in for a facelift.
Yeah, and it's got a new infotainment system with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's actually really quick. It's intuitive to use. I like it a lot.
All right, so you also see the control panel underneath. We've seen this before where you toggle between the HVAC controls and also your infotainment settings. You can save it on your favorite though. You can use one and it'll revert back to the other.
Kia's also added some new materials in here to make it feel a little bit more upscale, but we'll get into the interior a little bit later on. Let's get into the drive.
So they gave us the top trim, the 2.5 liter turbo. As Andrea mentioned, the hybrid and the plug-in are coming for the next model year. Those are really quite popular because this turbo, as much fun as it is, Andrea, and it is fun, it's just going to use more gas.
I like it. It's a ton of fun. You know, a lot of people ask me about non-luxury brands and a sportier SUV. Well, I think that this Sorento does fit the bill. Look, it's not a performance vehicle like some of the luxury brands have, but because of that dual clutch transmission, it makes it a little bit more fun. We're going to get into the dual clutch in our hot topic, so stick around for that.
And it's also in between two sort of categories, which makes it more tossable and easy to maneuver. Ride quality is very good. We're driving at close to highway speeds here. It's very quiet. We've come to expect that from Hyundai and Kia products. They do an excellent job with noise insulation, but just kick it, Andrea. It gives you the right amount of growl from the turbo when you want it.
Yeah, it does. And I find that the steering is quite nice in here. It's not too heavy, which makes it easy to maneuver, and the turning radius is excellent. I really like the size of this, and the powertrain with 311 pound-feet of torque you're just not going to feel a lack of power in this one.
Okay, so we haven't driven the Sorento with the base engine, but we have driven the base engine in the Sportage, the Sportage. And I found it was really quite good, and it doesn't come with the dual clutch. It comes with a regular 8-speed. So if you don't like the idea of the dual clutch, you can get the base model. And for just taking kids to school and soccer practice, that's going to be just fine.
This also comes with some great standard driver assist technology like blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert, lane keep assist, lane follow assist, smart cruise control with stop and go. The Sorento gets 6.9 inches of ground clearance, but if you go for the X-Line or X-Pro models, you get an extra 1.3 inches, so that brings you up to 8.2 inches, which some may like, so that's something to consider about those trims. It comes standard with LED headlamps, roof rails, a solar glass windshield and front doors, an acoustic windshield, 17-inch wheels, available 18-inch and a temporary spare tire. In the US, 18-inch wheels are also available. Higher trims get power folding exterior mirrors, LED tail lamps, and fog lamps. So the X-Line and X-Pro models have black exterior accents and even more rugged look. And the X-Pro model has more towing capability and also gets 17-inch wheels with all-terrain tires.
Okay, turning our attention to the inside, we touched on it already. So you're getting the newest, latest Kia dashboard with that single panel and the two elements behind it. We touched on that already, but I think the materials in here are first class. It seems to me that there's maybe a little bit less shiny hard plastic, but there's still kind of quite a bit of it, Andrea. Around the center console is covered in it, in the door cards as well. This is an addiction that has to stop industry-wide. We're not just picking on Kia.
No.
This shiny hard plastic phenomenon has got to end.
I think it's pretty good in here. There is one part with the shiny plastic that I don't like, and that's on the steering wheel. It'd be nice to see chrome in here. But overall, I like the layout in here. I like the traditional shifter that you get in this gas model. There's plenty of storage. I do find that the door pockets are a little bit narrow. I had a hard time getting my water bottle in there. But overall, it's comfortable. These seats, we complained before in the Sorento that they were quite firm, as well as in the Telluride, but boy, what an improvement. I don't know if they've done anything to the seats, but they just don't feel as firm.
They heard you, Andrea. They listened to the video and they changed the seats. It is a problem on some Kia models, so this is much better.
The Sorento offers a ton of value. That's one of the reasons why I like it. And if you are okay with not going with all the bells and whistles, we recommend the EX trims, whether it's in Canada or the US. And that's where you get those comfort features that will help with your everyday life, like a power tailgate, a wireless charger. You get the turbo engine, a heated steering wheel, and leatherette upholstery. There's just one feature in the US that's not on those models.
What is it? I gotta know.
Take a guess.
Heated steering wheel.
You got it. It's only available on the top two trims.
Why do they hate you there in the U.S. at Kia America? Why do they do that to you?
They must know that some people just don't care about it.
They want to sell you a Telluride. All right, so let's get into the available features. Available features on higher trims include the 12.3-inch digital driver display, surround view and blind spot view monitors, digital key, paddle shifters, navigation, driver's seat memory with 4-way lumbar support, a power passenger seat with 2-way lumbar support, leather quilted upholstery, ventilated front seats, a 12-speaker Bose sound system, heated rear seats, and a panoramic sunroof. All right, here's me getting in the back seat. We're going to touch on the fact that this model does not have a bench seat on this trim. We'll talk about that in a moment. You get pretty good legroom and headroom. How does it stack up, Andrea?
Comparing the Sorento to the new Santa Fe, the Kia has 41.4 inches of front row legroom, which is 3 inches smaller than the Hyundai. Second row legroom is pretty close. The Sorento has 41.7 inches of legroom, which is only about half an inch smaller than the Santa Fe. The Sorrento's third row legroom at 29.6 inches is only 0.4 inches less than the Hyundai.
Then you lift up the power liftgate and you can see that when the seats are up, the space behind there for cargo really isn't that big. How does it compare?
The Sorrento space behind the second row is up to 45 cubic feet. Space behind the third row, 12.6 cubic feet. And overall cargo space, 75.5 cubic feet. there really isn't much of a difference between the Kia and the Hyundai.
All right, coffee time. Let's get into it.
Time now for questions, coffee, and cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
Nice looking vehicle, but I think it's easier for egress and ingress to the third row in a minivan than a crossover.
Where's my hat? Okay, Captain Obvious.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be disrespectful,
No.
but of course.
Absolutely, it is much easier in a minivan. But here's the thing, not everybody wants to drive a minivan, so that's why manufacturers brought out SUVs.
There is no better vehicle on the road for getting people and stuff in and out of than a minivan. There's no question. We're on record. We're with you.
Oh, yeah.
We just can't suggest them to people because they go, ooh, ick. They want something that looks like this.
And if you do want to have that easiness in and out, get a Kia Carnival. It's available.
I'll sell you one of those.
And with a hybrid. How about that?
Nice.
Looking forward to driving that, actually. Is it possible to get a Sorento fully decked out with a bench seat in Canada? Absolutely not. In the US and in Canada. Here's the thing. The non-turbo powertrain gets a bench seat.
Basically the base model.
Yeah, and in the US, there's actually 2 base models. So you've got a choice of 2 trims with that. But all other trims get captain's chairs. And I think that, I'm just going to add one more thing. It's a shame. We're going to keep pushing for a bench seat on all trims, as you have seen in other videos. But the way I look at the Sorento is that I actually wouldn't have minded this vehicle with our kids because they were in a lot of sports. And there were many times that I could have taken extra kids in a carpool. So our kids as a family hauler, they would have been really comfortable with the captain's chairs. And then the thing about kids who just want to ride because their parents can't get them there, you put them in the third row.
They don't
it's
care.
small.
Listen.
They don't complain. Only your own kids complain if they're uncomfortable.
All right, here's the thing. If you don't like this, they will sell you a Telluride.
Yeah.
So you can go to the dealer and you go, Sorrento's not right for me. Hey, honey, what about a minivan? Hey, look, there's a Telluride. Let's get one of those.
Yeah.
So listen, it all comes down to choices. This is going to be perfect for some people. Maybe you just have one kid. This would be perfect.
Perfect. Looks great overall. Not sure about the new rims. The square centers do not match the rest of the vehicle. I got to agree with you on these wheels. I don't love them either.
Yeah, well, we
Maybe
see it with the
something brighter.
EV9. The
Yeah.
EV9 has similar kind of wheels.
I don't really love them. I mean, I said to Zach, you could just switch out the wheels, buy your own wheels.
Well, you could do aftermarket wheels, but I like OE look. I like the original equipment look. So you could always go and buy a 2023 wheel from the dealer and put that on.
Try that.
I'm sure they're copy and paste fitment, but yeah, wheels are definitely personal. And even with the EV9, they had only black.
They did,
I said,
yeah.
why don't you have this wheel but a bright wheel? Do it in silver.
Yeah.
And it might look better.
Yes. Now, we do have the X-Line model, and there's the X Pro, where they have the black exterior accents and the black wheels. I'm sure that the lower trims have a brighter wheel for you to choose from, but this is specific to these trims.
And now it's time for our hot topic. What's this one, Andrea?
I just don't like the dual clutch at all. It's not very reliable.
So make sure you stick around for vital stats. We're going to get into the price of this, and it actually has quite a lot of value, even on the higher end trims. But back to the question, Andrew, about the dual clutch. We'll get into the reliability numbers in just a moment. This isn't going to be for everybody.
No.
I find at low speed driving, and especially on hills, it's maybe a little bit jerky. If you're driving in areas where you have suburban or rural, you're going to love it because the shifts are so quick.
Well, I'm really enjoying it in the city, which is mostly what we do with our vehicles. I don't mind it. It's supposed to mimic a manual transmission. When you are at a stop sign, sometimes you do roll back. Sometimes when you're backing up, you roll forward. So it's something that you have to enjoy and something that maybe you have to get used to.
So that's the thing, is if you don't like that idea, you can save money on gas.
Yeah.
You can get the regular 8-speed without the dual clutch in the non-turbo model. Or you can get the hybrids and plug-ins that are coming later in the year.
As for reliability with the dual clutch transmission, yes, Kia has had problems comes with it. There are recalls on the 2021 and 2022 models, but I don't see anything on the 2023 and of course this 2024. So that is something to think about if you're interested in the Sorento.
Okay, so we touched on the value trim. Andrea mentioned that, but there is good value overall with Sorento. Let's get into the vital stats.
Let's start with pricing. We'll do Canada first and then move on to the US. The base model starts at just over $41,500 and the top X Pro is just over $55,000. In the US, the base front-wheel drive model starts at just under $32,000 and the top trim is just over $47,000.
Here's the fuel economy for this turbo. 11.5 liters per 100 kilometers city, 8.7 on the highway. That's 20 miles per gallon city, 27 miles per gallon highway. The base 2.5 liter is rated at 10.2 liters per 100 kilometers city, 8.5 on the highway. That's 23 miles per gallon city, 28 miles per gallon highway. The base model non-turbo can tow 2,000 pounds. The turbo, 3,500 pounds, and the X Pro, 4,500 pounds. The warranty is 5 years, 100,000 kilometers, or 60,000 miles. So for our comparison, we've gone with other three-row SUVs.
For your consideration, 4 vehicles for you to consider.
Up first is the new Hyundai Santa Fe with a 2.5-liter turbo 4, 277 horsepower, and a starting price of just under $50,000.
The Mitsubishi Outlander with a 2.5-liter four-cylinder, 181 horsepower, and a starting price just over $34,500.
The Mazda CX-90 with a 3.3-liter inline-six turbo and a mild hybrid system, 280 horsepower, and a starting price of just over $49,000.
The Toyota Highlander with a 2.4-liter turbo four-cylinder, 264 horsepower, and a starting price just under $49,000.
So there are 4 three-row SUVs for you to consider.
Lightning round, 2 things we like, 2 things we'd like to see improved.
I really like the exterior changes, that boxy design.
I love the fact they blew up the whole interior too.
How about a bench seat on more trims? As a family hauler, it's priced so well.
And I'm surprised they're waiting a full model year to bring out the hybrids and the plug-ins. But there you go. So that's the Sorento. What do you think of that?
Thanks for watching, and if you like what you see, subscribe. We'll see you next time.
Bye now.